Welcome to the new era of the IWC. You want a place where you can be you? Do you love stories and long-term booking? Well, you have come to the right place. Hosted by your longest-reigning IWC Intercontinental Champ, 1/3 of the IWC Trios Champ, 1/2 of the IWC Tag Team Champ, and your IWC Undisputed Heavyweight Champ. So grab your beverages and your snacks. And like BiggOh says, if you got it, spark it.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, the BiggOh Gaming Channel, right here at the Bay Resort. I am your host with the most, your IWC the Continental Champion, one half of the IWC Tag Team, one half of the trios, your undisputed IWC World Heavyweight Champion. Y'all know who it is. This is your boy, BiggOh. And right here is my bro right here, host of SWF Scripts Federation. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Scripts. What's going on, bro?
Going great, man. We're having a Federation news flash coming up soon. I'm not exactly sure when I'm gonna drop it, but it'll be coming up soon. So
you guys make sure y'all tune in to that. You don't want to miss nothing that Scripts got going out. Keep you up to date as far as rumors and news with the WWE and AEW as well. Hey, you can find that over here too. You can find it over there at Rob, but you'd be better off dealing with one of us two right here.
amen.
You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna steal the company, you know what I'm saying? So, but I thank everybody for being here, man. Let's see who we got up in here right now. Boy Maxwell's up in here. Patrick Palmer always throwing up the ones. What's going on, bro?
Rockstar
Of course,
Prez
right here. That's right, Scripts. Mike, what's going on, Mike? Keeping us up to date with the MLB playoffs. The Royals won, Baltimore 0. Sorry, Rob. Sorry. Detroit 3, Houston 1. MJF, his hacker account. What Vinny Jr. do now? Oh, that's hilarious. What's up, Rage? What is going on, Rage? The Venmo, bro. Sorry I'm unavailable for this one. It's all right. It's cool. Everybody's backing out except Scripts. It's all good. Nah, I'm just joking with y'all.
All right.
Oh, he's being demanding. You should have brought him on camera so I could talk to him and find out what's wrong with him. You know, uncles and nephews, they got a special bond that they ain't gonna tell mommy and daddy. See. Ray says she's seeing Jey Uso on Friday. Drew McIntyre canceled. What a bummer. What a heel.
Oh my goodness.
What a heel move. My goodness. How just dastardly of Drew McIntyre to cancel. Oh, Detroit just won. Okay. So Detroit just won, but that's all good though, man. Of course you see it's just us two. So we're gonna man the rings for this ship right here. Since everybody else had other obligations, Rob is like, oh, I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? My booty hurt. So whatever. I'm doing NXT. You know, whatever, Rob. Whatever, Rob.
He's gonna play. He's gonna play JD. I'm gonna play Jesse.
yeah. That's pretty much how we're gonna try to imitate. I know we can't do it like them, but hey, we're gonna put our own little twist on it. We're gonna put our own little twist. So make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe. Press that bell for all notifications and share to keep your people aware so you know when the boy BiggOh here at the Bay Resort, when he goes live, man. And if I had the other crew on here with me, we'll be acting silly as always. We just one big happy family, better than the Callis family as always, you know what I'm saying? So, but today we're going to get into chapters 2 and 3 and, just rewatching it and stuff, just kind of getting my notes and thoughts together and stuff because I took major notes on this. So, like chapter 2 was pretty crazy, and I know, and I forgot to mention this on part 1, but towards the end of part 1, Jesse Ventura was actually trying to get a union started with the wrestlers, I guess, to go against what Vinny Jr. had going or what he was trying to do and stuff. At those times, contracts wasn't guaranteed, and Jesse Ventura definitely wanted to try to get something going as far as looking out for his cohorts, his compadres, his fellow wrestlers. He definitely wanted to do that. Which
Golden Boy stopped that one.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. He definitely did. Which brings me to chapter 2. Uh,
Hello. We're wooing. Yeah. BiggOh gone.
Which was basically
There we go. The rise and fall of
We're
Hulkamania.
We're just codying for a second.
There we go. All right. I think. You froze?
Hang on. You know what I'm saying? So
Oh.
there we go. Okay.
There we go.
Yeah, we was codying for a second. We was just codying for a second, but we're good. We was just codying for a second. We're good. But chapter 2, I'm going to begin chapter 2 with this, which is appropriately named The Rise and Fall of Hulkamania. And that's what basically chapter 2 is all about, when Hogan was given the torch, so to speak, to carry the company. And remember, he was brought in to battle Andre the Giant. You know, you wanted that good versus evil aspect. You know, Vince McMahon was really up into real life, real life theories and everything that was going on with the world with Iraq and stuff like that. This was Vince starting to create his dream.
All
At
hail
one point, he
the
said, you know, oh, is Guardian up in here? Yep,
Yes,
it is the
he is.
GOC of the IWC. What's going on, Guardian? What is going on, man? Oh, Drew's your husband's favorite wrestler. I mean, everybody like Drew. You know, everybody like Drew. Everybody do. He's unruly. He's teething and crying. Oh man, that's because he ain't got a chance to talk to his Uncle Odie yet. I done told you, my bro, from the mom. I'm telling y'all. Uncles and nephews, I'm telling you. It's good to see you, Guardian, man. Glad you could be here. So what I didn't know up until I started watching this docuseries was that Vince McMahon, he really went all out for at least trying to get the message that he wanted to get. You know, before WrestleMania 3, of course, people knew that Hogan and Andre, they battled all over the world. They battled in AWA and etc. They battled at Shea Stadium. They just battled and battled. Now, Andre the Giant, what I didn't know, and I think my dad might have said something about this a long time ago, a while back, but I didn't know that Andre the Giant had back problems. He was really having some serious back problems to where he could barely move, barely walk, barely do anything. Vince McMahon paid and convinced Andre the Giant to get the surgery so he can basically do the match. He told Andre the Giant that you will be healed in this situation. Andre thought about it and he was like, let's do it. So after the building up, and Andre the Giant, who had, in my eyes, probably one of the best managers ever in WWE, and
Bobby the Brain.
Bobby the Brain Heenan was a gem, like one of a kind, like so good at being a heel manager, and
also so good at being a broadcaster. That was
he was great, hilarious behind the mic. He built Andre the Giant up to such great stature that when WrestleMania 3 came, it basically they sold out the Silver Dome. Supposedly, to this day, nobody knows the official number for the attendance for WrestleMania 3.
Well, if you believe Dave Meltzer, it's 78,000 something.
Yeah. I wrote that down. That Dave Meltzer said it was 78,000. Hogan think it was about 91,000. Vince says it was a sellout of 93,000. Like, who knows? And even to this day, we never know what that number could be, what that number was, you know. So, but either way, kudos on, you know, and all that, you know. But Hogan did the body slam. Andre the Giant told him to slam him. Hogan slammed him, hit the leg drop, 1, 2, 3. And Hogan said he didn't know what was going to happen until that third count hit. He didn't know what was going to happen. He didn't know if Andre was going to kick out at 2 or what. But Andre did do the job to Hogan, which basically started Hulkamania. That basically started Hulkamania.
One thing that show did not mention is the fact that during that match, Hulk Hogan actually made Andre the Giant mad. During the match, and instead of just deciding he's going to go off script and go over, he just made it more difficult for Hulk Hogan to go over.
Yeah, he did. But throughout all that, and I even went back on the Peacock. I even went to watch WrestleMania 3. I went back and watched that match. For what it was at that time, that was a good match.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really good match to show the dominance of Andre the Giant, to show the resilience of Hulkamania or Hulk Hogan at the time. And it really did birth Hulkamania was born on that day. Andre did the job. He put him on. He made him work for it, absolutely. But he did put over Hogan. And the thing about it, I mean, and I guess you could say when I first watched it, I didn't realize what that was symbolizing and everything at those times. As I got older and realizing what definitions of some of these wrestling terms that we like to use, like passing up the torch. That was a passing up the torch, saying that Hogan was the man going forward. And that's cool. And during the interview, I know Stephanie McMahon came up there and she just resented Hogan for a long time because she felt that Vince didn't get none of the credit of Hulkamania. None of the credit. Which, when I think about it, let me change that real quick. As I think about it, is that deservedly so? Like, is that every right for her to be resentful towards Hogan and Vince? What if Vince didn't want the credit? Even though we know that Vince created,
Vince never said he wanted the credit,
Yeah, like even though Vince created a Hulkamania, he didn't want none of the credit.
I mean, take a look at the
ask for none of the credit. He let Hogan ride that way.
Yeah, take a look at the Hall of Fame. He's told everybody don't even put my name in it. I don't.
That's true.
Talk about me or anything. You talk about yourself. He doesn't want any credit for anything.
That is true. We've heard Triple H say that millions of times. We've heard Shawn Michaels say the exact same thing. Hell, we've heard Paul Heyman say the same thing. So, and even Mark Calloway, who we all know as The Undertaker, he said it a few times too. So, Vince was kind of a background person. He didn't really just want to be in the spotlight then, but Stephanie did feel exactly. But Stephanie felt a little resentment because she felt like her father should have credit for Hulkamania, which in a way some people could say that is true. But when you go when you talk to people, like I'm pretty sure Guardian, the GOC, Guardian. I don't know if you ever met Vince McMahon or anything like that, but you have people like Tony Atlas was just talking about he didn't deserve none of it. He didn't want none of the credit because the credit that Vince wanted was just how hard he worked into the business. And Vince, even Tony Atlas, on the documentary said that Vince was a workaholic. He was a workaholic. Vince was just behind the P's and Q's all the time. And I could commend that for somebody being a workaholic, being, very good or trying to perfect their craft and stuff like that. Like you and I and Jeremy and Rob, when we're trying to do this podcasting thing,
right?
It takes trial and error to figure out your niche and figure out your lane and how you want to go about things. Me for for the most part, my idea to bring to you guys is creativity. You know, the way I do my intros, the way that I do this and that, like it's just to create just a little bit, creativity. I think creativity will take you a long way, and that might have
And
been
my
the
thing is entertainment.
yeah.
It's more. I just want to entertain people.
And that's all that's all that we aim to do and stuff. Like Vince, as far as entertainment and being creative, like he actually went into the movie business without even knowing a lick about Silver Screen Productions in
Right.
order to try to convince or persuade Hogan to stay in WWF. So Vince, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe this is when WWF. I don't know. I don't even know if I could call this the first rendition of WWE Studios or WWF Studios or whatever. When they
Right.
did No Holds Barred, which was a Hogan, which was listen. Growing up, that movie there, I thought it was cool because it featured wrestlers. It was awesome. It was awesome. But growing up, watching it again, looking through different glass eyes, it definitely it's not the worst movie and it's not the best movie, but it was a movie nonetheless.
What I was thinking was, you know, um, when he sold, or when Vince Senior sold the business over to Vince Jr. Uh, you know, did Vince Jr. know anything about wrestling or the wrestling business at the time? It seems like he has a knack for starting stuff that he has no business or no knowledge of how to do it. Like the XFL, he knew nothing about football.
That's a great point. That's a great point. I would think that he would know something about wrestling since he was brought up in the business by Vinny Sr. So now when it came to silver screen movies and stuff, oh, absolutely not. The XFL, Vince don't know nothing about football. He should have went and
Right.
hung out with Jerry Jones or somebody like that first before he brought out the XFL, and it could have been possibly that the XFL definitely could have been something.
He was trying to
So,
hang out with Mike Ditka.
oh yeah. So, hey, that would have been something like that. That would have been better. So after the movie, and the thing is, and this is, and I'm gonna hold up. I gotta put my black down real quick because I got to say this. So we talk about, or at least I don't know about everybody. Oh, I know JD does, but we talk about AEW, and we talk about AEW and their roster. AEW is loaded with a plentiful, stacked roster on the men's and the women's side. One of the main problems that I had with AEW at the beginning of this year was that when you brought in somebody like a Jay White, and you bringing in somebody like a Kazuchika Okada, when you bringing in a Will Ospreay, when you bringing in a Mercedes Moné, when you bringing in a Ricochet, when you bringing in a Camille, when you bringing in all these other different athletes or different people, when you do that, you continue to push people down.
Right.
The people who has earned their way up. Now that you bring this new person in, they're going down a couple of notches because of this new person that's going to leap you, and take your title shot. Ricochet got a title shot against Will Ospreay tomorrow.
Exactly. And Monet got her title like as soon as she walked in the door.
And that's the thing right there. And then you got these people that were right there getting ready to contend for a title, but now you gotta go down because of this person coming in, Ricochet coming in. Now you gotta take a couple of steps back and let that feud or that little match sequence happen.
And Ospreay's already got him a title too.
Yeah. So when you're doing that, and you guys know how I feel. Tony Khan is a fucking mark. All right. So you guys know exactly how I feel. I'm sure Tony Khan is a great guy. He's probably a great promoter, but he's a crappy booker.
Mm-hmm.
He has his core people that he'll put on TV every single week. But you'll forget about a Miro. You'll forget about a House of Black. You'll forget about who else? Who else? You'll forget about certain athletes. Where's Lee Moriarty? Why is everybody getting reluctantly shoved down to Ring of Honor? Like, what is that? Why is Athena not moved from Ring of Honor to Dynamite?
Exactly. Please get rid of Ring of Honor. Period.
Like, it's crazy. Why is the Undisputed Kingdom not on Dynamite, but they're on fucking Ring of Honor? What is going on here? Which brings me to WrestleMania 6.
Yeah, we're Cody in now. Whoa! That's all right. We can let's see.
And we sit here and we talk about what Vince did.
We got WrestleMania 6.
We got Cody in now.
There we go. Hey, Mama Scripps, how you doing?
It is definitely a lot to talk about. But
yeah.
But again, what's up, Mama Scripps? Hope you're doing good. But that brings me to my next point, because like I said, what Vince did to Roman with us by shoving him down our throats for 7 years is exactly what he did back then with Hogan. So of course, when you play with your toys, they tend to get boring, they tend to get a little old. So when you get you a new toy, you're going to tend to play with that toy a lot more versus the old toy. Insert the Ultimate Warrior. Took WWF by storm, quickly became the Intercontinental Champion. I think he arrived the year before at that SummerSlam, took the title off the Honky Tonk Man, and he held it all the way up until WrestleMania. Within 6 months, he was winning the WWF Championship at WrestleMania 6.
Right.
Hulkamania was slowly but dying. Hogan be putting in these little small matches here and there throughout live TV and stuff. I saw a few of them. Well, I watched a few of them throughout YouTube and stuff. That's what Hogan was relegated to for a little bit. So when that happened, and then plus at this time, Ultimate Warrior and all this other stuff, like, he just didn't really have his head in the business. So Creative had to try to get Hogan back on top. After Sergeant Slaughter defeated the Warrior, made him pass out with the camel clutch, and he took the WWF Championship, Sergeant Slaughter turned heel. He joined the Iraqi government, which was a stable in WWF back in the early 90s. Led by Iron Sheik and I forgot the Colonel guy that was
Colonel Mustafa.
Colonel Mustafa, that's his name. So Sergeant Slaughter ran that and became the part of the Iraqi government in WWF, which at that time there was an Iraqi war going on between Iran and the United States.
Right.
So now this was like mid 90s and stuff when this was going on, and they turned Sergeant Slaughter into heel. Now Vince was up to all of the the real time stuff that was going on in the world, so he decided to use that into a story. Now, what I didn't realize, again, watching this docuseries, what I didn't realize is that they were so good at portraying the storyline from real life to TV that Sergeant Slaughter started getting death threats, threatening his family, his kids, and stuff like that. That's so terrible. I can only imagine what they were going through. That's just crazy. I mean,
unfortunately, he couldn't even walk to his car outside the arena.
Yeah, he couldn't do nothing, man. I felt bad for him, but he was only doing his job. We all know Sergeant Slaughter loves America, man. Come on, so But it was only for entertainment purpose while he aligned himself with the Iraq military. So
Right.
all that was so by this point, Hulkamania was kind of coming back a little bit and stuff like that. You know, you got USA versus the bad guys and stuff like that. So it made sense at the time, you know. But Vince definitely did have to slow that down in order to get that, you know, like, hey, just TV, you know, we ain't trying to really maliciously do anything harmful like this to our country and stuff like that. So I guess you could say, you know, kudos to Vince for kind of setting the standard of bringing reality to TV because it did sell. It did sell. You know, so I thought that was really crazy. Of course, we all know that at the end of the day, USA won, Hogan won, he regained the WWF Championship, and that right there would start, which is going to be the next little segment that I got coming up. So at WrestleMania 7, after WrestleMania 7, 1991, again, Hogan defeated Sergeant Slaughter and became the WWF champion. But in all this great success that the WWF was feeling, it was on top of the mountain and everything, came with a lot of scrutiny, which will bring up my next topic.
Right. Still, yeah.
Steroids and scandals, man. So this is where the meat and potatoes of this chapter is right here, because this is all chapter 2 was about. It was about Hulkamania and the steroids and scandals.
Right.
This is crazy. So at the time, WWF, they had a legitimate legal licensed physician named Dr. George Zahorian, and basically he came in and he introduced prescribed steroids to these wrestlers. Now, from what I have heard, or from what I've seen in the document series, that the doctor would ask, you know, like, hey, you know, did you want to do this? What's going on, Blake? How you doing? Did you want to, you know, pump up and all this other stuff? Did you want to juice up? You know, and Vince actually admitted to buying some of these steroids, and but when he started buying them, and I guess at this time it gave Vince some type of idea or something like that. Do you remember the World Bodybuilding Federation?
Oh, yes. I remember it flopped too.
Oh, it flopped really big, really big. Yeah. You know, but you know what, Scripps? You know what? That was a bad call at the wrong time to start that World Bodybuilding Federation. As quickly, and I do remember seeing at least one or maybe two shows of the WBF. As soon as, and I remember getting a WWF magazine back in the day, and they were talking about it and stuff. I remember those.
But I remember a commercial for World Bodybuilding Federation, and I just couldn't. I'm not for bodybuilding. I'm for wrestling, period.
And that's the thing right there, because when bodybuilding, I'm here for the wrestlers. And I understand sometimes they'll have a wrestler here and there on there. I believe Macho Man was on there one time. I think Hogan was on there a couple times or something like that. I can't fully remember. But absolutely, I do remember that commercial, though. I do remember the commercial. That was right. That was literally right around when they started doing the ICO Pro.
That's right. That's right.
Gym and stuff like the enhancements and stuff like that. That was
GNC and all that.
All of that, and that shit was just absolutely crazy. So I definitely remember that. That was absolutely crazy, and he started that at the wrong time. I think if Vince would have waited until after all of this is over, it might have actually been something. due to what happened later on, which is we're going to get into later on.
Of course.
So Vince definitely had a lot of heat coming at all sides, and Dr. Zahorian testified and admits that he did treat Hogan and other wrestlers with the steroids. And Vince even had a press conference, admitted that he did use, but he didn't use anymore. And Hogan went on Arsenio Hall and denied all allegations. But you clearly had David Schultz, who I talked about in the last episode, who slapped that reporter. You had what was his name? Was it Gorgeous? Was it Gorgeous George? I can't remember his name. Shoot.
Let's see.
Not Jesse Ventura. You had Tony Atlas. You had David Schultz, and you had I forgot his name, Superstar Billy Graham. And you had Superstar Billy Graham that literally admitted to injecting Hogan with steroids. So I mean, you had Hogan flipping up his story like, I've only used them like 3 times and this and that and other stuff. If Hogan would have done exactly what Vince wanted him to do, was just come clean about it, I think Hogan would be in a better light for that time. But he didn't do it. He wanted to try to keep a honest look, because I guess he wanted to keep a positive image. It was an image thing, you know what I'm saying, with the children.
Well, of course. I mean, he was Hulk Hogan at the time. I mean,
yeah, exactly. He wanted to, keep up with face, keep up with the image, the vitamins, the prayers, and all that other stuff. So
right.
But if he would have told the truth, I do believe that it might be a little bit different. Would there still have been a Hulkamania then? Who knows? Who knows now? All right. The next subject we're going to talk about is even up until now, he is WWF's or WWE's #1 op, Phil Mushnick.
Oh God, yeah.
This man can have a show on its own, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Phil Mushnick was the man who brought all these steroids and these scandals, brought them to the forefront. And one of the things is, like, when they asked Phil Mushnick in the interview, they was like, why do you hate Vince McMahon so much? And his main thing is because he's a dirtbag. That was his answer regarding to Vince McMahon.
Okay.
When you start talking about Phil Mushnick, one of the articles that he wrote out. Now, he's been writing a lot of the steroid stuff, but one of the major stories that he did was the scandal stuff, and they talked about some of the stuff that happened with Rita Chatterton.
Rita Chatterton.
Referee. He wrote about that. He brought up the scandal about Jimmy Snooker with him and his then girlfriend. What happened to her? The Ring Boy scandal with Mel Phillips, who was an African American ring announcer. He was an African American ring announcer, but they gave him a nickname called the Ring Boss. And
luckily, that was before my time.
Mm-hmm. And one of the scandals that Phil Mushnick brought to the newspaper was Mel Phillips, the Ring Boss, would bring ring boys, but in too many cases they were underage children. Basically, they were underage children. So and there was a guy, I remember, I think his name was like Tom Cole, who came out and said certain executives in the company were inappropriately touching him in the most inappropriate way, allegedly. And Bret Hart talks about it a little bit, and that's where Rita Chatterton came up. And he talks about how they treated her when she came around and stuff like that. She came out and tried to expose WWE for what they was doing. And there were And there were so many of these top executives that were doing this type of stuff. And I think who did they name? I think they named
Pat Patterson.
Brett. I think Brett. I don't know if it was Bret Hart or Tony Atlas, but one of them said it was Kerry Garvin, who was an executive in one of the top front offices in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Pat Patterson, who was the top executive to Vince McMahon, also the first ever Intercontinental Champion in WWF history.
Yeah.
And even some of the executives now, like Bruce Pritchard, I don't think Triple H knew much of it, but Bruce Pritchard, he definitely knew. And Bruce Pritchard knew that Pat Patterson was gay. He was openly gay, but
right.
that never showed on TV, you know. And
No.
it was so crazy. Like scripts, like when you hear names like Pat Patterson and Kerry Garvin, who had been one of the top executives in WWE for years. You know what I'm saying? You know, like when you hear names like Pat Patterson, like being involved and stuff like that, like how do you feel? Like what goes through your mind about that? This was somebody that was our first Intercontinental Champion.
It really disappoints me, in the fact that, I mean, I know some gay people, okay, but it doesn't just because a person is gay doesn't mean they have to be an asshole, you know, and that's basically what Pat Patterson did, you know. But I mean, as of right now, it's like the man's dead. You know, why can't we just leave him alone anyway? You know.
Yeah, yeah. It's very disappointing. It's very sad because when you think of the WWF or WWE Intercontinental Championship, you think about the prestige that it holds and the people that held it before you, and to realize that if I look at it, the way that I look at it, I don't look at it now the way that I'm about to describe it. I don't look at it that way now. But to have the very first Intercontinental Champion to have stooped to do something like this, you like it's just like that title was dirty.
Unfortunately, nobody remembers the number 2 Intercontinental Champion. You know,
Unfortunately,
I mean, do you know who the number 2 Intercontinental Champion is?
the second Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah, the second.
That is a good question. I almost want to say it was Ricky Steamboat.
I would have no idea unless I actually looked it up. So
You want to look that up real quick, Scripps? You want to look that up real quick?
sure.
We're gonna find that out because that is interesting. That is definitely interesting. That is definitely interesting. Um, while Scripps is looking that up, I'm gonna go ahead and continue. So Vince, so in the interview when Vince is in the ring, he basically assumed that Phil was just actively trying to get rid of him, which it might have been some truth to that because Phil Mushnick had a lot to say about WWF in very little time. So it is possible, but Phil basically calls McMahon a predator who allowed these kids to get abused up under his watch. Allegedly, if that is true, allegedly, then it's like, well, it was up under your watch. Did Vince have knowledge of it? I don't know if he did or if he didn't, but that's absolutely crazy to think about. So Dave Meltzer come out and he says, Vince comes to me and says, one of the three is innocent. And Dave Meltzer said, who is it? Vince McMahon said, it's Pat Patterson. And Dave Meltzer asked, then why is he gone? And why is he gone? What sold it for me,
Okay,
as Scripps is still getting the information right here.
I got you.
What?
Let's see. Okay, Ken Patera was the number 2.
Ken Patera was the second Intercontinental Champion. Man,
Yes.
just imagine how he how he felt. I'm pretty sure he probably knew a little bit of it, but it's like Jesus. Ken
Mhm.
Patera felt like, man, I gotta bring some title, some prestige to this title, or something. Something's gotta happen. Now like I said, I don't look at the Intercontinental title now like I did back, like I did back then. When you got people like Jey Uso and Gunther, Sami Zayn, The Miz, Dolph Ziggler, other Intercontinental champions that we have had before, as Kofi Kingston and Big E and stuff. When you got people like that revitalizing the title, giving it prestige and stuff, it's a thing of beauty right now. But back then, a a a a child predator was the first ever Intercontinental Champion. That just baffles my fucking mind. The Intercontinental Champion is one of my favorite titles. That's why I have it.
Well,
That's
I
why I
mean,
have it.
if you think about it, even the first women's world champion
Yeah.
was a bully,
Moolah.
basically.
Moolah.
Yeah,
Moolah. Moolah was
exactly.
Moolah was a bitch. A devil. It's the reason why WrestleMania, I forgot what WrestleMania was when we were supposed to have that Moolah Battle Royal and stuff, but they
Right.
changed
It
it
was
to a sponsorship Battle Royal and stuff like that. That's when all those allegations about Moolah came about after she passed away. Moolah
exactly.
was Moolah was dirty. Dirty, and
Uh-huh.
there was always something about Moolah to me. She always looked so evil, like a witch or something like that. It was always something about her. That's why I like Mae Young more than Moolah. I think
Mhm.
Mae Young would probably if you would have kicked it with Mae Young, I think Mae Young would have probably tried to make a pass at you, but damn it, Mae Young will kick it with you and bullshit and have fun with you. But Mae Young she'll probably try to come after you, you know what I'm saying, try to get your little niblets and stuff, But
Moolah
I'm just
was a
saying, I'm
mean
just
old
saying. Don't,
lady, and Mae Young was a dirty old lady.
it was something like that, back, and I see some young pictures of Mae Young. Mae Young was a looker, back in the
Oh
day,
yeah,
back in the 1920s. Mae Young was somewhat of a looker back in those 1920s days. I see what Mark Henry was looking at. I see you, Mark Henry, sexual chocolate. I see you.
yeah.
So,
Shout out
so let's
Mark
see
Henry.
what I left off with Dave Meltzer. So yeah. So Dave Meltzer answered the question, then why is Pat Patterson gone if he is an innocent one? But it didn't take long for Pat Patterson to show back up, though. It only took like a few weeks, and then Pat Patterson was back with Vince McMahon and WWF. That
Of
that
course.
that's that is so crazy, and right here, this is the point where I felt like Vince had the money to make things go away. He had at
Amen.
this point. So Pat Patterson was so gay or so homosexual, whatever you want to call it. He played for the other team that he grabbed Tony Atlas while he was dressing. Grabbed him. And it was just, and like, even the narrator was like, what? Like I said, I never knew Pat Patterson was like that, man. That just shocking.
Yeah, I
That's just,
mean, you just don't tell another man that anyway. I mean, so it had to have been true. It had to
yeah,
have been.
it had
I
to
mean,
be.
I'm not gonna go up to you and go, some other man grabbed my, you know.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You trying to grab my manhood, man. You trying to grab the manhood. So Tony Atlas was basically like, did you guys complain? And he was like, to who? He was the booker. You
Exactly.
know, he was the booker. It was either you played ball, no pun intended, or
Right.
you go home. You weren't gonna get paid. So they had to take it and like it, I guess. For lack of a better term. Excuse me for that.
Like, you know.
So insert. So here comes one of my other favorite managers of all time, the mouth of the South, Mr. Jimmy Hart. So Jimmy Hart, he was very cautious on what he had to say because he didn't know what they wanted to be out in the open. So I kind of understood that. So oh wait. So actually, it wasn't Rita Chatterton. That wasn't her name. It was Rita Marie. That
Right.
was her. It was
Well,
Rita
no,
Marie.
Rita Marie was her ring name. Rita
Yeah.
Chatterton was her real name.
Okay, yeah. So Rita Chatterton was her real name, but Rita Marie was her official referee name. And
Right.
Vince talked about her again. Bret Hart talked about how Rita was treated with the boys and stuff. She was the first female wrestler, so she had a lot of pressure. So I can definitely understand that. And she came out with all these allegations and stuff, and even sued Vince and everything. And Vince claimed that the allegations were false, but people were talking about Bruce Pritchard was one of the people who was saying that throughout everything, these scandals, these
Okay, the allegations were false, yet he decides to settle with her. Okay.
he definitely settled with her. He kept going, he kept fighting, and he just would not stop. Like Vince felt like he was really invincible. Again, not meant to use any puns, but he definitely felt like he was invincible. So, but Vince he was something else. Vince
Yes,
was
he
something
was.
else. He definitely was something else. All right, so we talked about the Ring Boy scandal, the trial of 1993. This was the steroids trial.
Yep.
This is when Hogan testified against Vince, but Hogan backed up. Hogan actually backed up Vince because Hogan was saying that some of the questions asking was was Vince asked of you to take steroids? Did Vince do this with you with steroids? And Hogan said no, 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 no. Which in a way it kind of it cleared Vince because Hogan was granted immunity, so he wouldn't be tried against anything that he said in court. So he was granted immunity. So
Now,
the illegal
my,
district.
my thing is, if he was okay, he was granted immunity if he would, testify
That's
against
right.
Vince.
That
But
that is that is
he
right.
never testified against Vince. He testified for Vince.
Yes. So he did testify for Vince, which helped out McMahon tremendously. So the trial was basically a legal distribution of steroids, which Vince blames Phil for all against him. And Phil Mushnick claims that he's an FBI informant because everything that he wrote, the FBI acted on. Everything. Everything the FBI investigated McMahon about.
In other words, he's an FBI snitch.
Yeah, he's a snitch. He's a goddamn snitch, rat, a 6'9", all that.
Phil Mushroom.
So Vince, just live on the docuseries said that he wasn't guilty of anything, and basically, if you believed anything that Phil wrote out in those articles or what people had to say about him or this and that, then basically go fuck yourself. That's exactly what Vince said in the docuseries.
Mm-hmm.
McMahon is definitely a piece of work. I'm telling you. So, and now, look, if you are a high-profile businessman, and wouldn't you just want to come clean about everything and just start fresh with a new look, rebuild your image and everything? Hogan had a chance to do it. McMahon, obviously, he had a chance to do it, but McMahon is just as guilty as Hogan was when he lied about taking steroids by sitting here saying that he denied all allegations. Now, could it also possibly be that these people was just trying to get a easy payday, an easy come up or something towards Vince, since He was just this young guy at the time, getting into this business and stuff. You know, like I don't know. What you think, Scripps? What you think?
Um, the wrestling business is a if you don't step on me, I'm gonna step on you. So you know, uh, you got to step on people's heads to get ahead. So it, it's dog eat dog there.
Yeah,
I believe that's what Vince believed. So it's like why should I tell the truth when I got this money and I can throw it at people and tell them hush, you know. So
that's true.
and I'm the boss. So
Yeah,
you either do what I say or you gone.
or you just ain't gonna be working. You just ain't gonna have no job.
Exactly.
All right. So now we're about towards the yeah, let's see. Yeah, we're about towards the end. Yeah, we are about towards the end of chapter 2. And this is when Hogan gets released. He asks for his release after everything. He is granted upon only under one condition is that he did not go to the competition and compete. Hogan gave his word. We know Hogan didn't keep his word. All right, let's just say that.
Right.
So with all the scandals piling on, um, it was definitely a good time for Hogan to go out there and explore other options and see how that works out. I know he tried movies. Well, he tried to deal with movies and everything. And one of the things that he
Badly.
couldn't deal with was I think he said like being locked up. Yeah, like he couldn't stand being locked up in a dressing room all day and stuff. So in comes Eric Bischoff, who happened to be filming WCW TV at the
WCW.
time at MGM Orlando, Florida. Around the same time, yeah, yeah,
Uh. Okay.
around the same
Whoa. Yeah.
time
Uh, hello.
Hogan was doing. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good.
We're good. Okay.
We're
Good.
good. We're good. So 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 Bischoff starts off in the docuseries and he says that he was aware of everything that was happening with WWF. He knew about the Hogan. He knew about Hogan trying to pursue in movies. He knew about all the allegations that was going on with Vince McMahon and WWF at the time. He knew about the trial. And like I mentioned, Eric Bischoff was doing his WCW show, and Hogan was doing Thunder in Paradise, both in the same area in MGM in Orlando. And the conversation struck up about, hey, we're launching we want to revitalize our wrestling business and stuff. We think you'll be a good poster board for it. So it cuts off and it goes to Jimmy Hart and they talked about the schedules because this is part about how WCW ran their business. Jimmy
Mm-hmm.
Hart talks about the brutal schedule, 7 days a week out of 7 days a week out of 52 weeks was absolutely crazy. Uh, and Shane McMahon was talking about how the deals between both companies and the banter between his dad and Ted Turner was very taboo. And and at this time, the cases and stuff like that from the trial was still being settled. Vince McMahon called it the law of the jungle, where everything just kind of compiled onto you at once, and you got to deal with this, and you got to deal with that, you got to deal with this, and you got to deal with that. So Vince was getting hit from all sides, and uh, and that kind of introduced introduced a new beginning for the competition because WWE or WWF was such at a low point at the time. Um, at the end of the chapter, like Scripps just said, Vince withdrew defamation lawsuit against Rita Chatterin and Geraldo Rivera because he did go on Geraldo Rivera, and they
That's right.
basically bashed him with all types
Mm-hmm.
of questions and everything. So I think Vince decided he wanted to try to sue, but in '94 he withdrew the lawsuit, and I guess everything went on um, as planned for Vince at that time. A few what's this 2024? So and of course we all know last year Vince paid a multi-million-dollar settlement to Chattering, and
Right.
but yet he still denies doing any wrongdoing during those times right there. You know, and
Right.
and Vince, when it comes to like chapter 2, and these are my thoughts on it. When it comes to chapter 2, Vince tested his limits. Like I said, Vince thought that he was invincible. He tested his limits, and he almost got caught up for him. Would Vince learn from all this? I don't know. I don't know. Of course, we know over time he didn't learn, and he just piled on until he eventually got his ass up the hell about a WWE last year. So we know about that. We definitely know about that. Scripts. Any thoughts on chapter 2?
I'll tell you what Vince learned. Vince learned how to lie better.
He did.
You know, I mean, that's basically his whole life is a big lie. I'm not even sure he knows, you know, that his. I mean, they say that he never knew his name was McMahon until 12 years old. Well, okay. Do you know what your name is now? Because
Yeah.
you've been done lied about so many things. You know, you know. But
Exactly.
as far as chapter 2 goes, you know, the thing is Vince, like I said, he's gonna throw money at everything, and he thinks that's what's gonna, you know, keep him out of trouble, basically.
I agree with you on that one. I definitely agree with you on that one. So appreciate you guys for being here, man. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. We are about to get into chapter 3. Man, you're not gonna want to miss this. I'm probably gonna try to get chapters 4 and 5 done for tomorrow tonight. I'm trying to get it done tonight, but I do plan on watching NXT in the next hour and a half and seeing what that's about.
Okay, I can't do tomorrow because I've got a doctor's appointment.
Okay, okay. Well, we might just wait then. We might just wait on that to do chapters 4 and 5, and then we can do chapter 6 later or whatever. I don't care. We can wait until next week to finish it up. It don't matter.
All right.
It's content. It's content, so it don't matter.
Exactly.
It
Don't
don't
matter
matter.
when we do it.
All right, we're gonna start off here,
Good
guys.
job.
We're gonna start off here with chapter 3, which is adequately named Screwjob.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't even know. I never thought about this until I rewatched this. That the first actual screw job was done in 1985 between Wendy Richter and the fabulous Moolah.
Right.
That was the first screw job. So I think Wendy Richter. I think either her contract was up or she was getting ready to leave.
Yeah.
But she held the WWF Women's Championship at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So Vince wanted to take the title off of Richter, and basically told the referee at the time that when Moolah pins, regardless of a kick out, you count to 3. And Wendy Richter, she said that when that happened, she went backstage with the title, dropped the title right on the floor to Vince, looked at him, and left. And that was the last time you saw Wendy Richter in the WWF.
Mm-hmm.
So we go back to the last of the trial for the Vince McMahon steroid trial. He was found not guilty thanks to Hogan. He was found not guilty thanks to
We got a Cody problem again.
Hogan. Almost done. Come on.
There we go.
All
There
right.
we go.
There we go. We're just gonna be coding him. We're just gonna be woeing all day. So he got found not guilty after the last week of trial, and Bruce Pritchard came on there and basically would admit that things, as far as financials, things would get tight,
Okay.
and around WWF. And go ahead, Scripps.
Okay,
I'm waiting
okay.
to see if I'm going
Well, one
to code some more.
yeah, one thing that we forgot to mention about the steroid trial. Did you notice that Vince McMahon wore a neck brace to the trial?
That's right. That's right.
He
Yeah,
actually
that's
he
right.
actually
He wanted
had
to.
real neck surgery that was not needed so that he can have sympathy from the jury or whatever.
Yeah, and we all know that Vince, everything is a show for Vince. So he's going to put on the
Oh yeah.
best look that he possibly can. And the neck brace to try to get that little sympathy aspect from the jurors and stuff, did that help? I don't know. In wrestling, when we see, it's usually the bad guys we see with neck brace to try to,
Oh yeah.
because we know that they're just abolishing what they feel and stuff. So we get that. We definitely get that. But yeah, he did have a neck brace on at the
Reminds me of Nick Patrick. You know,
yeah.
having that neck brace on, and then saying, "I'm gonna find this wrestler $1 million for putting his hands on an official."
Oh yeah, I remember that. So like I mentioned, Bruce admitted that things around the company did get pretty tight. Vince also mentioned that some of the executives and some of other top people that even left the company because of that financially, and it really did hurt the company with the trial and everything. So much money being and resources being spent into that trial, it definitely did hurt the company. So Vince, but you can't just sit there and mope. You got to move on. You got to progress. So around this time, which is when a lot of us started really paying attention and started watching wrestling when we were kids, when we were
Right.
little and everything. Here, and now we're being introduced to this whole group of new people in a new era called the New Generation era.
Mm-hmm.
And this happened after Hogan left. After Hogan left, Vince needed a new top guy. You had so many people that you could choose from, but he went with the most American person to try to use, and that was Lex Luger. Lex Luger came in. Hogan leaves, Luger comes in. You still want to keep that USA American aspect to a wrestler. Then you get the Lex Express Lex Luger come in. And this is around the time, I've paid attention to wrestling before then, but
Mm-hmm.
when it started getting just a little more colorful, a little more exciteful and stuff, is right when Lex Luger started coming in. When you had
I found that funny that he chose Lex Luger, because if you think about it, Vince chose a narcissist to be the face of America, basically.
yes, yes, absolutely, he did. He chose the narcissist, the
Yeah,
man
the narcissist Lex
who
Luger.
always looked at it. And what they tried to do was recreate the WrestleMania 3 moment where Hogan body slammed Andre the Giant. The thing what they did with Lex Luger is they had him body slam Yokozuna
Yokozuna, yep.
at WrestleMania
10, I believe.
nine,
Or
I believe, or 8, or something like that.
I think it was 10 actually.
It might have been 10. It might have
Yeah,
been
when
10.
they had the two WWE championship matches.
Yes, yes, I think it was 10.
Him
So
him him and Yokozuna and Brett and Yokozuna.
yes, Yeah, absolutely. Which brings up to the next point right here. Bret Hart and WCW. Now, we talk about the new generation, and I'm talking about Lex Luger, Big Daddy Cool Diesel, Razor Ramon. You had Triple H, or Hunter Hearst Helmsley, as he would like to be called back then. Spark Plug, Bob Holly, Tatanka. You had those guys, Shawn Michaels. You had those guys. They were part of the new generation. And then you had one in particular person who was the definition of the new generation. And I'm talking about Bret the Hitman Hart.
Hitman Hart. Yep.
This man carried the new generation. He carried WWE into the next evolution of the company. So Ted Turner in WCW, and I always said this, and I say this about Tony Khan too. If anybody paid attention, I said the same thing about Ted Turner is the same thing I say about Tony Khan. Both of these guys are operating their companies like WCW back then and AEW right now. Tony Khan, Ted Turner, they both got open checkbooks.
Amen.
Okay? And Vince McMahon, he understood that wrestlers would go to WCW because of that, because they could offer guaranteed contracts with, shorter time on the shows and stuff like that. So they asked Vince. Vince says, as soon as I found out, I was like, we're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So in September 4th, because the whole before then, Ted Turner and Eric Bischoff was talking.
Okay, and we got a Cody
Bischoff was
moment.
like, how can we compete with the WWF? Bischoff mentions, okay, well, they got a contract. Oh,
Yeah.
we're good. Well, we should be good now. We should be good now.
There you go.
We're good? We're good scripts? Okay. Good.
Yeah, we're good.
So Eric Bischoff told Ted Turner, he was like, well, they got a primetime show airing on Mondays, and we got our primetime show airing on Saturdays at 6:05 p.m. Eastern. Ted Turner decided to say, all right, let me give you primetime Monday, 2 hours Monday night. Which brings up to the debut episode at Mall of America for WCW Monday Nitro.
I remember that like it was yesterday.
September 4th, 1995. I remember watching this episode. I was excited about it. I was waiting to see what was going to happen. It's a new show. You get Hogan, you get Mike, and we are Codying again. We're just Codying away. We're Codying to the left. We're Codying to the right. We're just Codying all over the damn place.
Cody, get out of here, man.
Anyways, Luger surprised everybody when he showed up on September 4th. Just the night before on WWF Superstars, Luger was on Superstars. And he showed up on Nitro, the first episode. And I believe that main event was supposed to be Hogan versus Flair for the world title.
Back then, I could not have dreamed of that in my wildest dreams. That shocked the hell out of me.
Oh, absolutely! Like that surprised me. I was like, I just seen this guy on WWF the other day. What is he doing on WCW? Didn't realize that there was a war getting ready to happen in professional wrestling. But we all knew that Vince was fierce about this stuff. But that was just absolutely crazy to see. Hey, Lex Luger was Rick Rude before Rick Rude was Rick Rude.
Exactly.
Like, that's crazy. That is crazy. So one of the main things that Nitro would do, they would, when they started getting up and running, they was getting hot, gaining steam, some traction to their product. One of the things that Eric Bischoff would do would absolutely spoil everything WWF had to do. If you was watching Nitro, Eric Bischoff, like right after the commercial break, like, Don't go clicking to the competition, guys. Their world champion just beat some poor schlub. You might as well just stick here and enjoy the hottest live wrestling you could ever watch. You know what I'm saying?
One time he did that, and it proved to be detrimental to his company because he mentioned that Mick Foley won the world championship, and he goes, "That'll put some butts in seats," and about half the audience just left.
You know what really happened? It may not have put butts in seats because butts was already in those seats, but it definitely made fingers click to the other station.
Right.
So he definitely screwed himself on that one, man. Shame on you, Easy E. Shame on you. All right. So Eric Bischoff will give off match card results to Monday Night Raw in order to keep people from clicking the channel over to the competition. And so that upset Vince so mad that, and Eric Bischoff will try to do a multitude of things to get Vince to crack at least a little bit. And so all the pandering and just the making of the fun of on Vince and stuff like that finally broke Vince McMahon, and Vince McMahon introduced what I thought was one of the most funniest segments that I've ever seen Vince come up with. And that was the Billionaire Ted skits.
Oh,
I love those. I love the Huckster and the Nacho Man and Billionaire Ted. I love that shit. That shit was hilarious to me.
They could have done without the Huckster and the Nacho Man for me, but I was rolling all over the floor for Billionaire Ted now.
That was absolutely amazing. It was so funny, and a lot of my friends enjoyed that stuff too. So it went on for weeks and a couple of months until the what you call it, USA founder,
USA Network kind of
Kay Kaplatlik. She shut the skits down, saying it was distasteful and it was something that they wasn't really trying to do. You know what I'm saying? So that was
I found that weird because USA Network is saying that was distasteful. Or no, it wasn't USA. Or was it USA? Okay, USA Network was saying that was distasteful, but the Mr. McMahon Kiss My Ass Club was not distasteful.
I think like around this time, the limitations of television was very I ain't gonna say very strict versus when they jumped into the Attitude Era, which we'll talk about on the next show.
Right.
But in a way, those scripts, it did kind of introduce something different for WWF. And as we are progressing from the Bret Hart to the WCW storyline, I'm gonna jump this because all this, and with Hogan leaving and the new generation era beginning and stuff, you tend to find new avenues to run down if you are a new company, which brings up the curtain call.
The Click. Yep.
So we all know who the Click is: Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, Diesel. Y'all know who they are. So this was like literally like right in the middle of this new era transition. You get, because like I mentioned, Ted Turner, him and Tony Khan is as one. They both got open checkbooks, so you can go buy whatever, buy athletes to come. Kind of like the same way Vince did in the territorial days. You go and mooch all these other guys to come perform for you. That's exactly what Eric Bischoff did and Ted Turner did. They went and got Razor Ramon. They went and got Big Daddy Cool Diesel. Mm-hmm. And on May 96, it became what's known as the curtain call. Big Daddy Cool Diesel and Shawn Michaels had a match. It was a house show. It might have been for the championship, but Shawn Michaels won. Then next thing you know, you see Razor Ramon, you see Triple H coming out, and they're all in the ring. They're embracing each other. They're hugging. They raise each other's arms and everything. You know, a lot of the talent thought it was a cool thing, thought it was something cool to do. And, you know, after me seeing it with the eyes that I have now, it is actually definitely a cool thing in my eye.
Oh yeah.
But, you know, there were some people that did not approve of that. And there's two parts to this I want to talk about. So we know that people like Bret Hart, we know people like Undertaker, they did not approve of this. And the reason being is because you got to keep up with face. You got to keep up with your character no matter what situation you in, no matter where you are in public. You still have to keep up with the character, which brings me to the next discussion point, which is something that I like to call kayfabe. I wish Jeremy was here because
Amen.
that is Mr. Dakota kayfabe, but we understand that the baby nephew is not feeling too good. He's teething and everything, so take care of my nephew and stuff.
Yeah.
But kayfabe was something big that old school wrestlers would try to keep up as much as possible. You don't want to break that third or fourth wall. You know, when the Undertaker would go outside, like the Undertaker would dress in dark clothes, he'll put on a hoodie. He'll put on a hoodie or some glasses and with a band. Like he was very mysterious and stuff, and he kept up with that. By the Click doing that, it broke the fourth wall. But Vince gave his blessing. So the final night for Razor and Diesel, Shawn asked about doing something special for those guys. Vince initially gave the okay, and Shawn and Diesel battled in a house show. Shawn would win, and Razor and Triple H would come out and all would embrace each other, which became known as the curtain call. This move right here, it didn't hurt Scott Hall. It didn't hurt Kevin Nash.
No.
It didn't hurt Shawn Michaels because he was your WWF champion at the time. You wasn't going to punish the Golden Boy. So who was the person that they had to take that out on?
Paul Levesque.
Triple H had to eat that. And
exactly.
To quote Triple H, who quoted Vince, you're gonna have to eat shit and like the taste of it. That's exactly what Triple H said. Triple H was scheduled to win the King of the Ring that year. And Scripps, if you could for me, could you find out who won the 1996 King of the Ring?
Sure. I believe it was Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm not sure.
I believe that might have been Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now his story is going to come up a little bit later, and I'm going to revert back to this moment for Stone Cold. But I want to double and fact check that Stone Cold Steve Austin was indeed the one to win the '96 Royal Rumble. So while we wait for that, man, again, let's make sure we hit that like button and let's subscribe. Let's make sure that we do that.
That was indeed Stone Cold Steve Austin.
All right, that is indeed Stone Cold Steve Austin. And like I said, I am going to revert back to this part on the next show that we do with episode 4 and 5 on it. All right, so now we're going to move on. We're going to go ahead and move up a little bit. Hang on. There we go. So we move a few months ahead to possibly WCW's monumental breakout as far as being prime time. So now we have what is known as July 1996, known as the Bash, or in this case, the Bash at the Beach pay-per-view for WCW. It was Sting, Macho Man, and I forgot that third person. Sting, Macho Man, and somebody else. Who was it? who was it? Macho Man, Macho Man, and it was somebody. Was it Luger? It might
I
have
think
been
it
Luger.
was Lex Luger, yeah.
It might have been Luger. I think it was Luger. So it was Luger, Macho Man, and Sting going against the Outsiders and the Third Man.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't even have to look at my notes to tell you how this went. Gene Okerlund asks, "Where's the Third Man?" Scott Hall says he's here and he's ready. The match started. The Outsiders looked absolutely incredible. They demolished Luger, Sting, and Macho Man. And right when shit looks like it was going to fray for Luger and company, enters Hulk Hogan, who walks down with the most defiant look on his face as he come in, clears the ring. Hall and Nash hops out. Hogan backs in the corner, looks around, jumps, gives a major leg drop to Macho Man Randy Savage, and lets it be known that he is indeed the Third Man.
Man, I got mad that day.
Wow.
You talk about.
Wow.
I was wanting to throw trash in the ring myself, and I was watching it on TV.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that is absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy that Hogan would turn heel at the 1996 Bash at the Beach and join the Outsiders of Hall and Nash. And to quote Hulk Hogan when he said, "You are now looking at the three most powerful guys in this wrestling industry. These two guys came from a company up north.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what, brother? I made that company up north and I made it powerful. We'll call this the new world order of professional wrestling."
Right.
When he said that, the NWO was born, which at that time, I would have never expected the NWO to be as popular as they were. Never expected it. Took me clean by surprise. So Hogan was introduced as the Third Man, introducing the NWO. WCW made big waves when Hogan turned heel, but, and I got a question for you, Scripps.
Sure.
Do you think that what Hogan did was too much heat? And did Vince miss out on turning Hogan heel?
As far as I'm concerned, in wrestling, there is no such thing as too much heat. And as far as Vince is concerned, hell yes. He missed the boat on that one.
Now, Vince
We're Cody in again.
actually
There we go.
admitted
We're
that
getting
the
it.
idea for Hogan was for him never to be heel. Whoa!
Right.
Whoa! So Vince McMahon actually came out and said that the plan was never to turn Hogan heel. He wanted Hogan to always be this babyface that stood up for justice, stood up for, the right against the wrong and stuff like that. Which, we say that about Cena too. But Cena actually did go heel, and in the very beginning of his career, Cena was heel.
That's right.
Hogan was heel when he was Sterling Golden. He came as heel.
Yeah, I was going to say, Hogan started his career as a heel.
Yeah, exactly. He's Classy Freddie Blassie was his first manager before he got Jim the not the Anvil, but the Mouth of South, Jim
that.
and stuff like that. So absolutely. I think Vince did definitely miss out on that boat right there. But WCW was definitely so good that they beat WWF ratings for 83 consecutive
Mm, mm-hmm.
weeks. Man, that sounds so familiar. Where have I heard 83 weeks?
Let me see.
83 weeks. Somebody that we know has a show
Eric
called 83
Bischoff, maybe. Yeah.
Weeks. Shout out to Eric Bischoff, man. Shout out to
Yep.
Eric Bischoff. And they asked, and I thought it was kind of funny. They actually asked Vince, did he know anything about Eric Bischoff? And Vince was like, I didn't. And he was like, well, he did come in years back and did an interview for one of the upcoming shows that they had coming up at the time. And Vince didn't hire him. And they asked Vince, do you regret not hiring Eric Bischoff? And Vince says,
He was auditioning for a backstage announcer job.
yeah, it was something like that. He was auditioning for one of them roles, and they asked him, do you regret not hiring Eric Bischoff at the time? And Vince said, I don't regret nothing in my life. So Vince still stubborn as ever.
No
He definitely
kidding.
is still stubborn as ever. You know.
But
Then
the only thing I'm gonna say about that is, if I were, the person that's the competition for Eric Bischoff, I probably wouldn't have hired him myself, because nobody would hire a businessman who wears a blue jean jacket and sunglasses. I mean,
oh man, for real though. All right, we are down to our last subject here on this episode in chapter 3, Brett and Sean.
yep.
I really don't have no notes. I really don't have no notes because I know the ins and outs of their rivalry, their friendship, this and that. We know that Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels did not like each other. We knew that Shawn Michaels was somewhat of an arrogant prick back in the day, and even Shawn Michaels admitted that he was an arrogant prick, that he would not want to be around himself back in those days, and that Vince had to put up with a lot of bullshit that Shawn did. Vince almost fired Shawn on a couple of times and stuff, and Shawn went up to Bret and was saying all this stuff, and Vince thought it would be good for television. So they took their real ass heated rivalry and
Right.
brought it to TV, and they invented, or I ain't gonna say they invented, but they introduced something to me, which was something called shoot promos.
Right.
Like with Shawn saying that Bret was enjoying sunny days, and Bret Hart calling Shawn Michaels a child and a jackass and all this, and just all this bantering back and forth between those two, which was real, but they brought it for TV. It actually did make great sense, and it made good TV. They had fantastic matches every time they wrestled.
Real life makes good TV, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Oh, agreed. 1000%. I agree. And Shawn was just so arrogant, and of course, we're going to talk about Shawn in the next episode because he had a lot to do with the Attitude Era, along with Stone Cold Steve Austin and Undertaker and Triple H and the rest of those guys. We'll get into that on the next episode. But the Montreal Screwdriver, that is a monumental landmark as far as placement for WWE, WWF around that time, as far as what was going to happen. We knew at this time, we knew about Bret Hart's contract damn near being up, and he was going to end up leaving. But just like what happened to Wendy Richter, Bret will have to succumb to the same thing as well. That's why the name of the episode was appropriately titled Screwjob. The Montreal Screwjob is probably the most known incident in WWE history, period. You cannot say WWE without mentioning the Montreal Screwjob between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. All right?
Exactly.
So the deal was that Bret was supposed to do the deed, but Bret did not want to do the deed in Canada to Shawn Michaels. Bret would have been fine doing it on a Monday Night Raw or a regular house show or something like that, but not on pay-per-view in Canada at the Survivor Series, the '96 Survivor Series. So of course, we all know what happened. Shawn Michaels come out with Triple H. Bret Hart comes out with the Canada crowd behind him, and I'm talking about Shawn Michaels attacks at first. Very, 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 very good match. Very fucking good match. Great.
Man, that was a good
match. Technical match. It was so good. And the moment where the screw job ended up happening is when Shawn Michaels tried to put the sharpshooter on Bret Hart, who didn't put it on right at first, and Bret had to rearrange his legs for him to put the move on him. And as soon as Shawn Michaels barely sat down in the hold, now Bret has his eyes on the timekeeper.
Right.
And Vince is over there saying, ring the bell, ring the bell, ring the bell. And he looked over at Vince just in time for Vince to yell at the ring bell, ring the goddamn fucking bell and stuff. And he rang the bell. Earl Hebner got out of there as fast as he got in the ring, and he was nowhere to be seen ever again after that. We seen the video. We seen Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart at the edge of the ring, both looking and cussing at Vince, because I saw Shawn Michaels cuss at Vince, telling him this was a stupid ass decision. And Bret Hart stood right there over Vince in the ring, and with all the froth and stuff, like when you get like dry mouth and stuff, spit the most stickiest loogie dead square in the middle of Vince's eye, and Vince just could not believe what happened.
Oh, man.
So Bret Hart leaves Canada, let go by WWE, not a champion, didn't go out the way that he wanted to go out, and he ends up showing up on WCW. I think it was about 4 or 5 months later.
He announced it. He announced it in the ring at WWE, WWF, WrestleMania, whatever. The WCW.
WCW. That's exactly what he did. And but you're right about one thing, Scripps. It was definitely it was definitely such a good match, and definitely real life can produce damn good TV. You are absolutely right about that. Towards the end of this episode, Triple H said that the moment that you could tell when the momentum for the companies have shifted was when Bret Hart had left. But it might have closed the chapter. It might have closed the chapter of the new generation era. It definitely might have closed the chapter on the new generation era at the '96 Survivor Series, better known as the Montreal Screwjob. But it also introduced a new character, which would kickstart the era that we all love and enjoy the most in our lifetime. And we're going to get into it on the next episode, and that is the Attitude Era. Stone Cold, we're going to talk about him. We're going to talk about The Godfather. We're going to talk about Shane, Stephanie, Kane.
I'm going to enjoy that.
Now we're getting into the ribs. We're getting into the steaks. Oh, man, we're finna eat good over here at the Baby Resort. We're finna eat good over here at the Baby Resort. That is the end of chapter 3 Let's give our thoughts about it real quick. Scripts, what is your thoughts about the chapter 3?
I'm just telling Vince treats WWE and basically life like a movie, and we're all actors. So if you don't play your part, he's gonna make you play your part. That's how that happened with Wendy Richter, and it's how it happened with Bret Hart. So
That is 100% spot on. I think around this time, it was more or less like you play with the cards that you are dealt with when you was in WWE at that time, and you win some and you lose some. But for some of these guys like Bret Hart, for like a Wendy Richter, for those people right there who've been screwed out because they didn't want to drop the title when it was time. Now, business. They gotta, we gotta understand that it's business.
that's right.
Tony Khan might allow something like that to happen, but you gotta still drop the title. Like Bryan Danielson is still wrestling without a contract. He is the AEW World Champion right now. You think if you want to go to WWE tomorrow, that Tony Khan's gonna say, "Now wait a minute, you got a piece of my property. I'm gonna need you to drop that tonight on Dynamite." And Bryan Danielson's gonna be like, "No." Bryan Danielson's gonna do the right thing. He's gonna drop the title, and then he's gonna show up at WWE tomorrow.
Well, hell, Medusa, she dropped the title in the trash on WCW television.
She did. She is about the only one that I can think of that took another title to another company and threw it away on live TV.
Wow.
But all of this tyranny that Vince was doing was the birth of an on-air character for Vincent Kennedy McMahon Jr., better known as Mr. McMahon.
Yep.
Guys, that's going to do it here. We've been here for about an hour and 45 minutes or so. I appreciate you guys so much. I wish I could tell what the likes were at. I don't know how many likes we got, but I appreciate everybody for being here. I appreciate everybody for joining and just lending us your ear and listening to us talk some documentary wrestling business and stuff. Let me see. Let me see if I can take a look at what the likes are real quick. Let's see where we at.
We got a secretary in here.
I don't know where JP is or anything like that.
I mean, I know I'm the head of the head representative, but I'm on screen, so I can't.
You're good. All right. We got about 10 likes. That's cool. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with 10 likes. Right. I know I'm not expected, many people to really be here, although they should be.
And we started with 17. What happened?
Yeah, I don't know. Everybody did that, man. Everybody's getting ready for NXT, which will be coming on the CW in 45 minutes. Rob is going to live stream it. I should live stream it too, just to cut him off and cuss his ass out. I should.
There you go.
That's my bro.
There you go.
I might jump on his channel. I might just jump on his channel and just shoot the shit with him and everything.
Yeah.
But no, it's really all good. I don't fret over stuff like that. It's going to get viewed regardless. Whether 15 people are here or 500 people are here, it's going to get viewed regardless. So it don't matter to me no much. So I'm all good with it. But Scripts, man, I do appreciate you for being here, man, taking the time out to
anytime, man. Anytime.
Come hang. And we just codied up real quick, but now we're back. But again, I do appreciate it. Hopefully we'll have Midmo here. Hopefully Julia join us finally, and hopefully Rob will be back. Maybe Future can join us as well. Hey, why don't you go ahead and holler at the people, let people know what you got going on and where they can find you.
Okay, you can find me on YouTube at Scripps Wrestling Federation or on Twitter at ScriptsWF. And as far as what we're doing right now, it's a weekly thing. We're doing Scripps the Federation News Flash on Sundays. However, because of Bad Blood and all those other pay-per-views, when there's a pay-per-view, Federation News Flash takes a back seat. We do the pay-per-view post show the next day. So
yeah, make sure y'all go subscribe to my boy Scripps, man. He be out there working and he be putting in that work, man. Scripps Wrestling Federation, and we also got the Federation News Flash.
that's right.
That's gonna be in you guys' sub boxes really soon as well, man. Thank you guys for being here, listening, chilling. Thank you, Guardian, Rage. That sucks about Drew McIntyre, but please get a yeet from Jay Uso for me so I can put it on my channel. I think that'll be so dope, Rage. Please.
Amen.
Appreciate everybody, man. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitch. There's my Twitch handle, BiggOh8701. My Twitter or X is TrueOKC. That's TRUOKC. That's also my Snapchat if y'all want to snap. If you want to donate to the channel, it is scrolling right down at the bottom. The Cash App for Horseman 4.
And just so you know, anybody that super chats today, half of the proceeds go to me as well.
Yeah. So if you send over $1, guess what? Scripps gets 50 cents. I'm gonna share with my bros, man. We all in this together, man. It's just love of the family, man, because we are better than the dog.
That's right. That's right.
That's gonna do it, guys, man. On behalf of myself and my boy Scripps, man, I'd like to thank everybody. Appreciate you guys for being here. And we're about to get up out of here because I'm hungry and I got some nachos waiting for me. I'll see y'all over at Rob's channel.
Chicken, so I'm doing great.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys over at Rob's channel for the premiere of NXT on the CW. Until then, deuces.
Bye-bye, babies.
Yeet.
It's main event time, Moose.
Don't wait around. Yep.
Smart, yeet, and get out.